Hello, representatives of SteelOrbis. I'm the member of board of Steel Foreign Trade Association. I'm a trader of steel as you. So on behalf of our association, I would like to greet all of you. I would like to first of all give you some information about our project, and I would like to thank SteelOrbis for giving us this opportunity. We have 15 minutes, so I will be very fast in my presentation. Steel Foreign Trade Association was established in 2016 with 61 members. We have currently 80 members, 30 of them are companies, legal entities, and 50 of them are members, individuals who represent their companies. Imagine that in Turkey people establish associations with 5 or 6 founding members. We had 60 people that even surprised the Department of Associations when we were established. Mahmut II is our president of the board. He was the president of Steel Exporters Associations in the past. He's a founding member. And with the merging of 5 associations, we have established Turkish Steel Federation. He's also chairing that as well. Mehmet Özkarakaş, Mehmet Çakkur, these are some of our members. Miss Asuman also, she's a member. And these are the company members. So let's go through the list so you can see. These are very well-known players in the sector, importing and exporting. Most of these actors are members of our association, not only import side, and on the export side also we're trying to develop projects. Let's continue with the presentation, please. Since 2010, we have been working on certain ideas, and we developed a project for this, the Steel Exporters Association, and in collaboration with Steel Foreign Trade Association, we call this the Common Logistics Project or Common Freight Project. So we want to solve the problem of freight. We produce the goods and we keep it at FOB, but for freight pricing, we don't have the same success. So we are exporters at the end of the day. We're not shipbuilders, so we don't have our own ships. So the aim of the project is to increase exports to the regions of the world. There is a huge potential of developing steel exportation, and our plan is to save on the freight costs by establishing a company and establishing regular lines that will also be provided with bulk dry load vessels, and companies from the export sector supported by the financial assistance of the government. We will be establishing a company, and sectors that want to receive services from our company will be able to receive these services by loading from Turkish ports. By the way, we are not ship owners or shipbuilders, but we have a huge gap in the ship owners sector. So we know the amount of the goods that we are able to sell, but we don't know how much we are not able to sell. So in 2012, in order to increase the exports in the Central European countries or towards the Central European countries, we laid the foundations of this project. We are selling about 150,000 tons of products to this area. So it's very close by, but we're not able to sell products to them. So we will do this, and we are also targeting the Western African area from Senegal all the way to Angola. So as Turkish traders, we need to take more share of this trade. So just to sum up, the figures on the left-hand side show the tonnage of the steel for that port, and the figures on the right hand side are the tonnages sent from Turkey. For instance, for Dakar they buy 554 tons, and 126 tons of this comes from Turkey. So Senegal, Nigeria, Ghana and Ivory Coast are marked here. For Nigeria it's 40,000 tons, for Ghana 32,000, Ivory Coast 60,000 and Senegal 133,000 tons of steel is sent from Turkey. These are the figures for 2016. I'll give you the figures for 2017 as well. And our target, by the way, I have to say that from these countries there is also the export tonnage, outgoing exports. On the left hand side the total adds up to 85 million tons more or less. So there is also an important volume of outbound materials. Rebar. So by the way, products come out of 3 regions in Turkey: Iskenderun, Izmir and Marmara regions. And we wanted the containers. Well, the project was launched because the containers are 11.80 to 5.80 meters, but for instance the products we have are 12 meters long, so they don't fit in. For instance, 58% of the Marmara products are long products. We have exports, we will show the volumes to you, but we can't export enough from this region because these are profiles at 5.80 meters and these are rebars. Here also in Izmir area almost 80% of the products are rebars or again long products. In Iskenderun 60% of the exports are long products, so they don't fit in the containers. This line is important. Let me draw your attention to this one. This is West African countries steel products imports. 2017 is 5.5 million tons for West African ports. 2.5 million of this alone is carried out by China. Turkey 0.5 million tons. So we have a market share of 10% approximately. Previous year, 2016 figure was half of this, 260,000 tons, and China was 2.8 million tons. So we actually took a share of 200,000 tons from China. So without China, the entire focus would be on Turkey. So for rebar, Turkey has this exports of 186 million tons to West Africa. Almost all of it, more than half of it, is sent in bulk in dry cargo vessels, but they don't stop at every port and they don't carry volumes like 300 or 500 tons. China for rebar it seems to be 18 million tons, but we have other products. They add borium in the alloy, 135 million tons. So even at this level we are exporting higher amounts of rebar to West Africa compared to China. So our number one target is to export from one port and arrive at 3 ports or 1 port with vessels with a tonnage of 30,000. So we have 530,000 tons almost of exports, but most of it is, only a limited amount of it is bulk cargo vessel. Again, these are the imports of West African countries. Steel 5.5 million, pasta 500,000, cement 17.6 million, flour 1 million, fertilizer 500,000. For Turkey, imports are about, for steel it's 500,000 tons, pasta 463,000, cement 3.7 million tons, flour 400,000 tons, fertilizer 130,000 tons. So we are currently sending 20% of the goods imported and landing or arriving at Western African countries. So our aim here is to reach to 360,000 tons, and we don't want to be competitors to the ship owners. We want to carry the goods and products that are not currently being sold. And these are the government incentives. As you know, currently we have certain incentives. For our region, it's 4,500 TL per container, so it makes 150 liras per ton. But this incentive subsidy doesn't mean anything because of the FX rates currently. So with the previous FX rates, companies would get $1,000, but now they are going to get $700, which means they are going to incur a loss. So subsidies are not enough anymore, so we need to find a different solution. That's why we devised this project. If the entire steel sector is incentivized in Turkey, then we will have to see 25 million US dollars of incentives to be provided to the steel sector, and this is actually done in the format of price reduction. So it's not called an incentive anymore or a subsidy, it's just a favor, let's say. So the volumes are not increasing, so the subsidy is not reaching its aim. Our competitors are not containers of 20, but containers of 40. For instance, in Dakar and Konarki, the price is $121 and $148 for long products. Even if we are able to get the final price, it's going to cost us about $150, and you can't price this as the merchant. So freight price, which is almost 25% of the material price itself, is too much, so we cannot export enough. China is able to sell its goods all the way from other parts of the world, but we're not able to do this even if we are closer to these regions. Currently, the ship owners can choose the ports themselves, and they quote a price of $70 to $80 per ton, and this is also not enough to make a profit. So what we are thinking of doing with this project is to help the exporters, and exporters will know the freight price and the date of shipping in advance, so they can actually benefit from this. Currently, we don't know if we are going to be able to send the materials to Africa, for instance. So exporters will know the shipping price and shipping date beforehand, so they'll be able to contact their customers. And thanks to regular lines, the shipping costs will be lower for CIF value, and the exporters will be able to load materials on a regular basis. We will be in a more advantageous position compared to our competitors, and the difficulties stemming from the container sizes will also be avoided. And currently, $60 to $70 of shipping costs are there for exporters. When we activate this project, we will be further reducing it to $35 to $40 per ton, which will help us with pricing. Then it will also benefit the importers in the West African countries. They will have more affordable prices. That's why they will prefer Turkish materials, and the importer will also know the date of arrival when they plan their import, so they will be reducing their costs by receiving shipments on a regular basis in smaller quantities, and they will be able to expand their business volumes, and they will be able to import goods at standard sizes, 6 meter and 12 meters. It will also benefit the government. We will see an increase in export and FX revenues, so it will have a positive impact on the current account deficit. There will be an increase in capacity utilization of Turkish producers, and it will create employment and tax revenue for the government, and of course it will also provide a contribution to the diplomatic relations between Turkish and African countries. We have other benefits. This will also be benefiting other export items like cement, pasta, etc. And Turkish ports will have the potential to become transport ports, and there is also going to be return load to be loaded on the vessels. So in a nutshell, our aim is to increase exports. The implementation will be done through the establishment of a joint company, and the result will be a 150% increase in our exports. These are the volumes that I have shown you here. 530,000 tons is available. We know the amount of exports that we are doing now, but there is also the amount that we are missing, we're not able to do. So we want to increase it by 750,000 tons. And by the way, this is only for steel. Cement and other materials are not included. So 750,000 tons of increase means an important amount of increase in export revenues as well. This is all for my presentation. If you have questions, I can take it because we had only 15 minutes. I didn't give you all the information, by the way, because it's not appropriate to reveal everything at this stage. Yes, please.